Chelsea Football Club have a list of managers to replace Mauricio Pochettino if the end of year review in June does not go well. And when I tell you this list is so pathetic, a part of me says, keep Mauricio. I'm serious, I'm not kidding. If I tell you this list at the end of this video, you're going to look at it as, what on earth has happened to our football club? What are we going to do in this video? We're going to talk about the list, we're going to talk about each candidate, and we're going to tell you the two candidates that are not going to be considered because they're eventually just off the table. No matter what Chelsea would want to do, I don't think they're attainable. Let's get into this video. We have a lot to talk about, but before we get started, hit that like button. We're aiming for 1,000 likes. Subscribe and share this with your friends and family. It's the best way to support the channel. Let's get into it. So right out of the back, this video is going to be a very quick one, but what are we going to talk about? First of all, the two managers that I don't think are even going to consider Chelsea. The problem with what's happened with Chelsea in the last 2 years is we're no longer a draw like we once were. When Chelsea used to pick up the phone, managers used to run. Our knock was different. We could knock on one of the best clubs' doors and say, you know what, we'll take your gaffer and we won't even mind. However, this doesn't exist anymore. We finished 12th. I don't know where we're going to finish this year. And this new regime is more of a, we'll build, we'll take our time. It's not the Roman, come here, secure yourself some trophies, your CV looks pimped out. You will get sacked, but everyone gets sacked here. It won't be held against you. So the first person is Julian Nagelsmann. Chelsea apparently are interested in Julian Nagelsmann. However, I don't think Nagelsmann is interested in Chelsea. Nagelsmann broke down his communications with Chelsea last year, where he thought he was the #1 candidate and it didn't go his way. Vivil was heavily leading this, and what happened? He ended up taking a year off, basically, and then he took the Germany job, and at the end of the Euros, he's going to be a free agent, and it looks like he's going to go back to Bayern Munich. There's a lot of reports coming out about this. This is getting heavily inflated with more stories coming out, so it makes logical sense. Bayern Munich or Chelsea? Which one are you going to pick in 2024? Easy choice. Story number 2. I want Ruben Amorim. Everyone is known for the last 2 years I've been calling for Ruben Amorim to join Chelsea. However, Ruben Amorim looks set to be going to Liverpool at the end of the window. As soon as the season ends, the first thing I think is going to happen is Sporting will confirm that he's leaving, that the activation of the clause has happened, and he will go. At the moment, there's a lot of stories coming out that the conversations are breaking down, and like Chelsea are inquiring, Chelsea are monitoring. I think this is from his side of the camp. I think they're trying to get these stories out there purely based on the fact that Liverpool don't want to pay that release clause that is currently available for Ruben Amorim. So if Liverpool decide to pay it, he's theirs. I think he is sold on the project, and Chelsea are in big trouble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the names that I would definitely not want, purely based on the fact that I can't believe they're even on it, and then we're going to go down to the ones that I could possibly consider. The first name on that list that I saw out of the 4 is Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe, the Newcastle manager, should not be considered for the Chelsea role. I don't care what anybody says. So what I think the owners see from this is Eddie Howe last year finished in the top 4. Eddie Howe has overachieved with the squad that he has. Eddie Howe's football is very exciting. You score a lot of goals. But what my problem is, Eddie Howe, whilst is having a decent season now because of all the injuries, and it's like basically Chelsea all over again, but at Newcastle, Eddie Howe's football is not good enough for what I want Chelsea to be. Eddie Howe's football is, we'll sit back, soak up pressure and hit you on the break. I don't want that. I want to see an element of style. I want to see an element of expressing ourselves. I want to see a midfield that has grace and ability to tactically outmaneuver anyone. I don't want pace and power team. I want a team that has pace and power, of course, but I want technical ability. Look, a lot of people are going to get at me for saying this. I want to play the way Manchester City or Arsenal play. I want us to dominate games. Yes, Arsenal lost today, but you know what? It doesn't matter because the reality is Arsenal are playing like a very good team all year. Manchester City control games. Yes, they concede a goal here and there, but it's purely based on the fact that they suffocate teams so much that they tend to just overwhelm them and win. We have the players to do this. And for me, Eddie Howe is not the manager. If you are insisting on going with Eddie Howe, I don't understand what you expect from Chelsea next year. 6th place, 5th place, 4th at best. The man's never won anything. He doesn't have the characteristics of developing players. People are going to say, oh, he's developed Isak, he's developed Anthony Gordon. How many players has he brought through the ranks apart from Miley and that has got better and played on a consistent level and gone on to win some? The difference between developing at Newcastle is you have more patience. At Chelsea, you need to win something. We're a fan base that expects victory. Eddie Howe cannot be getting considered. If you think Eddie Howe was bad, think what Chelsea are going to happen with the Chelsea fan base if we go for Thomas Frank. Chelsea apparently have got a stern eye on Thomas Frank, and this has been reported on numerous occasions. And this is how I know this is potentially true. Because what I need you to understand, these reports have been happening throughout the year, right? We've seen links to Eddie Howe in October. We've seen links to Thomas Frank last year when we were considering a new manager. We saw it in December. The new owners love the way he's overachieving with Brentford. For me, I don't love the way he's overachieving with Brentford. Yes, they play a decent style of football, but their football once again is capped at a specific level. They went picking up 2 wins in the 13 or something like that this year. Nobody cared. It's Brentford. It's a completely different level. The man has no Champions League experience. The man has no pedigree of winning stuff in England. The man has no pedigree of absolutely controlling egos of the highest order. His biggest ego he has to control is Ivan Toney, and why he has a massive ego and he thinks he's the God's given gift and disrespects their club left, right and centre. He's not controlling him. Ivan dictates what happens in that dressing room. It's evident to see. He can say whatever he wants, when he wants, and he gets away with it. Thomas Frank, I'm telling you now, Eddie Howe or Thomas Frank, I am going full Lee Gunner mode from day one. I'm going straight away Frank out or Howe out. I'm not even going to give them a chance to get behind them, because they will have to do something that is miraculous that I don't expect for me to even believe that they can turn this around. The next manager we're linked with is Zerbi. And you know what? I really understand why Zerbi's on this list, but I still have my doubts. Look, with Zerbi, we're going to get coached. We're definitely going to get top-tier coaching to the point where our players are going to benefit from a system where they're going to know every little detail of everything they do. So, for example, the wingers in Noni, Mudryk, Cole Palmer, Raheem Sterling, Nkunku, they're going to flourish, because it will be very, very premeditated to what they need. Enzo and Caicedo will flourish because they'll have a system in place and there'll be no excuses. Like, there will be no excuses for them to play well. My issues with Zerbi are, he's not been uber successful at the top level. And for me, that is imperative. And we saw in the Europa League this year, when he came up against De Rossi, and he went up against Roma. Yes, they won the second leg, but the first leg, they got absolutely humiliated. And that's due to his playing style. What do I worry about his playing style? I worry that we, A, don't have the centre-backs to perform that style. And B, when we get shellacked, we are going to get slapped. The way Tottenham gets slapped on a consistent basis and the way that Brighton gets slapped. Like, the reality is, we can look at the squad he has and we can all agree. At Brighton, he is marvellously overachieved. Like, that squad does not belong in the top half of the table. He has got a few good players, but other than that, that squad is extremely average, extremely basic. However, if he comes to Chelsea, with all the pressure of us having to win something, with the time that it's going to take to implement him, and the fact that he's coming from Brighton, do you think our fan base is going to accept this? Do you think our fan base will believe in this? Do you think they'll give it time? I don't think so. And what's worrying me is, I feel like he will need time. And that's what worries me. So I don't know what you lot think, but for me, this is a maybe. This is one that I'm going to have to get talked into, and this isn't one that I'm going to back straight away purely from the fact that we have got the right guy. He's absolutely phenomenal. I'll be very nervous, I can't lie to you. Every passing day, I get more and more jittery about this one. Finally, the final name on the list is the one that I kind of feel like, okay, I kind of understand why he's on this list. Is he my first choice? No. Do I see why he's on the list? 100%. It's Xavi. Xavi from Barcelona. We all know Xavi's leaving Barcelona because of the criticism he's getting, because of the fact that he believes he can't take the team any further, and more importantly, I think he can't handle the stress that comes with managing the team that he loves, right? The team that he adores, the team he played for, and the criticism that accumulates with it, and he believes most probably is damaging his legendary status there. However, Xavi has a lot of positives, man. Xavi plays a lot of youth in place of experienced players if they earn it. And he's willing to give a chance. That's evident from day one. He's won stuff. So he won them the Super Cup and he's won a league. I think that is imperative. He's got Champions League experience as well as Europa League experience in 3 years. That is also important because when you get into these competitions with a young squad, you don't want to be going through experiences such as what Arsenal are going through right now, where Arteta's learning on the job of how to be a manager in Europe. But more importantly, Xavi's won a few ties. Xavi now is out coaching, in my opinion, Enrique, and potentially we'll get into a semi-final and then a final of a Champions League. He's done well. He's had 2 attempts at the Europa and the Champions League as well. He's developing and he's won a league title. So for me, it's like, oh, it's exciting, right? However, do I like Xavi's style of play? I'm really torn on what is Xavi's style of play. Because in the first year, in the second year when they won the league, it was built on toughness, it was built on endurance, it was built on we ain't conceding goals. We're going to nick the games 1-0. This year, they tried to be a bit more expansive and they've been leaking goals. Recently, they've started shoring up the defense a little bit more and they went back to their roots. And yes, the injury problems aren't rallying up. But overall, it's going to be an exciting one. And if it's out of those 4, I know which one I'm going for. I can't lie to you. I'm going for Xavi. Or maybe I could be persuaded with Zerbi, but I'll be so petrified with what this could mean. But guys, this was the Kavkas View. I'm really sorry to dump this negative news because, you know, some of you will say I'd rather stick with Pochettino. And I believe that. I really do. But I'm in camp of, I think Poch has done so much damage and I know he doesn't suit this team and he's not brave enough to play youngsters to the point where I feel like we need to be open and honest that we need to move on from him. And I hope the owners do, but it better not be Eddie Howe or Thomas Frank, man. I'm really serious about that. This was the Kavkas View. I hope you all enjoyed it. Tomorrow there will be a match reaction to the game. Make sure you tune in, hit that bell notification so you don't miss out. Peace out, I'm out. In the comments, let me know who you would rather have.